Hey everybody, Sam Claitor, Louisiana native. Been working in the film industry for I don't know 10 years at this point. I've produced a bunch of indie movies that nobody's ever heard of, but a couple people have watched. And my day job is generally in VFX. Overall movie nerd. You can get in touch via LinkedIn or the gram, Instagram. Like Colby said, we all worked on National Treasure a little bit, but I feel like that's slightly stretching the truth for me. These guys really did most of the work. Um, Kevin did shot work, supervised stuff on set, helped with creative, organized team CrossFit workouts. Did a little bit of everything. So I'm not going to speak for you. You want to tell everybody
Yeah.
about what you do, Kevin?
My name is Kevin Conlon. I am a lead and senior compositor, and also a junior on-set supervisor. It's been more of a recent position. I've been working in the industry for probably 8 years now, and CrossFit enthusiast. And yeah, no, as I said before, I did a fair amount of work on set and behind the computer for National Treasure.
Cool. Want to roll the reel? Well, there was that New Mexico unit.
There was. Very, very brief, very brief.
Oh no, we didn't go to Tennessee either.
Can you believe it?
Dropping Bob Ross from trees.
Happy little trees everywhere.
It is.
Ooh, very cool. So, also just Derek is passively watching. I'm pretty sure I had my audio channel completely muted during that whole session, but y'all will just have to
No.
trust that everything I said was awesome, and you know. it was all worth it. I'm sorry you guys all missed it
Yeah,
apparently, but anyway.
just some technical issues.
Yes. All right. Hopefully the mic is working currently. Um, but yeah. Anyway, National Treasure Reel. Kevin, where would you like to start? Any shot in
Um,
particular?
Honestly, the opening shots are probably some of my favorites. These here, just they were used to establish what the treasure was, like how it got hidden, and just the entire backstory behind it. And I think for me, the coolest thing was is that this was probably one of the cooler days of being on set and seeing this entire setup. This was all shot and filmed in Celtic Studios. Um,
Shout out to
and
Celtic again.
Shout out to Celtic. And it was all these actors were like stunt performers that choreographed this entire fight, and they were very well rehearsed. They did an awesome job. I just remember out there I was calling it's these like conquistadors versus these Mayan soldiers, and I was calling it shirts versus skins. Um, and yeah, just like the costuming and the set was just like really cool. It's just this massive green screen. Um, that Davey and I helped put together and put up tracking markers in the background, and just yeah, seeing it all come together on a set like this is really one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Um,
Well, hey,
like
first off on that, excellent job on the tracking markers. Gotta throw that
yeah,
out there. Little tease everywhere.
oh yeah, yeah.
But you said that like the conquistadors and it's Aztecs or is it Mayans? I can't
Am I
remember.
wrong? Am I wrong? Yeah.
Well, no,
Mayans,
Um,
I'm
yeah.
not asking you, are you wrong? But you said like there's a bunch of stunt choreography around it, and these are the only two shots that actually make it in here, right?
Yeah, there is another shot where they actually come together and they start clashing, and then it's a big sword and gunfight, and
Yeah.
you can they're doing like front flips over each other and just throwing each other like all over the place, and unfortunately that one did not make it into this breakdown, but that was a very cool shot to see.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, those days are fun on set too. I mean, like stunt dudes love to do stunt stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly,
it's cool to see
and
people do what they're excited about doing.
yeah, and then of course like all the visual effects that went behind it. It was a very fun shot to do because the it was very stylized. It like was just a super fun piece to put together. You know, a bunch of fire, embers, a lot of elements that came together, and I thought overall looked really cool. By the time it was all said and done.
Totally.
Yeah.
What was one thing being on set and seeing? I mean, you've been compositing for a while, right? So like
Yeah,
you've gotten to work with green screens and had to do that whole element of it. But was there something that you learned from set that you thought was like, oh damn, I had no idea that was what went into capturing this to make sure it's properly done
I
on the backside?
I think it really just comes down to like having an overall I would say like the confidence in yourself like when you're like talking to the directors and the producers about like what needs to be done like that was like because like you have to like reassure them that you're doing the right thing and one
Mm-hmm.
thing that like I always thought was really cool like just being around that was like looking at like the set and everyone around it and thinking about it from a compositor perspective. It's like how do I like if I was going to be compositing a shot, what do I want available to me to have so that when I put this all together, it's as easy and as smooth as possible.
Well, and that's like an artist's dream, right? Is to like actually be able to ask for those things that you wish they got.
Exactly, yeah. And whether or not they listen to you,
Whole
that
nother
is
topic.
yeah, that's a whole nother topic. But this project in particular, it everybody was on par. Like you could tell that everybody that had been working on this set, they all like knew what visual effects was about, and they all paid like an immense amount of respect for everybody that was on set.
Well, and knew it paid dividends when you get some of those little details right because they show up on I mean, everybody that works in film knows this, right? They know that like those micro details are going to show up. Everybody's
Yeah,
seen, mishaps, the Starbucks cup on Game of Thrones, that sort of thing.
yeah,
So
exactly.
people want to get it right. They take pride in what they do. Just sometimes they aren't aware of what's necessarily important on which shots, but it's good to know that
And
everybody was
yeah.
recognizing that. Is the maker, is that Derek?
Oh, it's Maddie. Hey, Maddie.
Oh, that's Maddie. Okay. You said Derek's on here though. Who's Derek? Chime in. Did you work on some of these shots?
Yeah, yeah. He was
Yeah.
watching. I don't know if he's still watching, but
Okay. uh,
but yeah, great stuff.
yeah.
Let's see more green
Yeah, go
screens.
back
I
to
saw a
like
couple more
the
green screens.
oh yeah, go ahead. I know we all got shots we want to talk about on this. I'm not in a rush to force mine in there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can say I did this one. This is also done in downtown Baton Rouge.
Yeah, look at that.
Um,
You supervised
yeah,
this on set and you did the shot?
yeah, that was that's been a pretty cool like thing too. It's like finally getting to see like what like when you are on set and then finally getting the plates yourself and getting to work on it. That's also very exciting. And it's the little things like the little like green trackers that like you don't have to like key out of like hair as like hard as if those orange ones were all over the place.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah,
let's chat
and
about it, right? Like some people may not know what these are for. Why would you use green and orange,
because
or what's the difference? Why would you use these two different colors?
green is easier to key. So like when you get like hair and other finer details like over it, it's easier to maintain that detail and it overall delivers a better final result. The orange, like while you might have an easier time tracking them, it does cause an issue when you are actually compositing this and putting it all together because you do lose a little bit of detail in it and you end up having to do like tricky things like tracking hair patches or like rebuild something as close as you can. It overall ends up being a lot more work, whereas like you can easily get the same level of like tracking with like a green tracking marker over it.
Yeah, cool. And fun
At least that's
fact,
my definition of it. But
yeah, and fun fact, the other reason why you would use orange on green is if there's a lot of depth of field in the camera, so the
mm,
focus in the background gets thrown really soft. The green will almost blend together depending on the level of
right,
defocus. So orange also helps if there's a significant shift in focus there. But yeah, tell
Was
us a
that
little
absolutely,
bit
yeah,
more about the
yeah.
shot.
scaffolding
Okay.
in this shot? Was the scaffolding like actually part of the set design, or was that there and they're like, oh, let's incorporate it?
I think they were
I
actually remodeling some of
yes,
downtown.
I'm pretty sure this building next door was like legitimately being remodeled at that time.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can see it
Yeah,
going either way.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
that
what
one.
is this place? I forget what this building is. They do a lot of
I
Yeah,
like
where
It's
is
events in
that
like
here.
downtown?
So it's right in the middle of so Jolie Pearl. If you walk to the right, there's literally this gap in between like that Jolie Pearl building. Shout out to Jolie
Yes.
Pearl and whatever this big. Oh, they use it for events. Like I see a lot of wedding receptions and things being held there. So
Hmm.
I can't. I don't remember what
yeah,
it's called though. I don't know what the actual building is.
but I can tell you, keying that scaffolding was probably the one of the harder things about that shot
Yeah.
because like the pieces are so close together, and obviously it's falling into like a darker, like the shadow being cast behind it, and the defocus here, like
Totally.
like you want to make sure that there's no like webbing or like weird jitteriness or popping like when it comes to the key in that area. So it's like that area had to be treated so much more special than these I don't know, maybe like 50 people, 20 people in front of the building.
Sure. What do you have any tips and tricks that you can give for keeping some
Yeah,
soft focus? Anything that
a
helps?
lot of roto. Shout out to Sean for helping me out with getting a lot better with IBK.
Oh, Sean. Okay.
Sean is yeah one of the senior compositors at Crafty Apes. Very talented guy, but yeah, he helped me out a lot with like learning IBK and really helping me drive that part of the key home.
That's great. And shout out to
We also
Davey
had we
too.
also had an oh yeah.
We haven't given
Hmm.
Davey an official shout out, but Davey Nethercutt was also leading the charge on the set work here on National
Yeah,
Treasure.
he probably did majority. Yeah, he did a majority of it. He was the one in the emails and everything. I got
Yep.
to stand by and cheer him
Well,
on.
On the
yeah, and I
emails.
know he's not here and can't like comment on the chat or anything like that, but I know one of the things that he really appreciated about shooting this thing at Celtic was that he could sit at his desk in the studio and have the walkie on and hear when he was needed on the stage and like,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
be able
always
to walk
nice.
back and forth. Huge benefit of shooting on stages and also
For
huge
sure.
benefit of being a VFX studio based out of a stage.
yeah.
Totally.
No, he definitely loved going back there and standing in the AC sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. What were let's see, is there what other shots can we break down? I don't know there's plenty of shots in here.
The
I mean,
car one
you
was really fun. We were on set for that. That was actually
like
really close to the Alamo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like right across the street, actually.
Yeah, like right there. Yeah, and this was just a
I
really
shot
fun
this on the
set.
same day.
Not the same
No,
day, but I think like within like a week or so.
yeah, this is
Um,
the old governor's mansion here. So if you look down, that other building would be like just to the right here.
yeah. Um, big shout out to again downtown Baton Rouge. But yeah, it was that was a really fun day because uh, one thing I thought was really cool is that they were using Euphoria as like a reference for this entire sequence. And because of the part where Zendaya is like running between cars, and they really wanted to like capture that same sort of essence with this. And
Yeah,
then of course the TG cars were very fun to implement and like blend in there because I don't think a lot of people realize that the majority of cars in that shot are not actually there.
totally. Got to make it feel more
Which,
dangerous. Can't drive cars that
Exactly.
close to people,
yeah. Well, and you gotta be safe at the same time.
man. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
all these and this stuff is gonna come up now, right? Everybody's talking about like we gotta reduce visual effects. There's overspending in post, but then stuff like this is gonna come up, and
Yeah.
you can solve it a million different ways. It doesn't have to be solved with
Yeah.
VFX, but you said they used a stunt double for some of that, right?
Yeah, a lot of the shots where she was behind, it was behind her. That was all the stunt double. Um, she was the one running through the streets, completely barefoot, if I remember. And which is very hard to do. But yeah, she did a great job. And then I hope I pronounced this right. Lizette Oliveira did an amazing job at all of her close-ups. So that's the other thing too. All the actors on the set were really cool. They were very friendly and very nice. They actually like took time to like talk to people like that, were working like behind the camera, and you could tell that they had a really positive relationship with not just each other but everybody on the set.
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
good team players. Yeah, it's always cool when that happens. Like when I used to do scans, we used to have to work right in front of actors and work very close with them. And it was always crapshoot on if people were going to be cool or if they were going to
Yeah,
ruin your day.
I think obviously like they know that like we're all in it together, and they're like, and it really showed in just like their day to day ability just to communicate and just be really awesome people.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
how I mean, this was shot during the summer in South Louisiana, so like how'd everybody take
Yeah.
the heat? Was
Um,
everybody all hunky dory and cheery shooting outside and
yeah,
all?
I think probably one of my favorite moments. There was a day that Colby and I went out for a we were this year when we were actually on the tarmac, and the director, I can't remember their name, but they were you could tell they were feeling the heat of the harsh Louisiana summers, and they were like, all right, so Catherine Zeta-Jones is gonna come out, she's gonna stand right here, she's gonna sweat, she's gonna deliver her lines, and then she's gonna go over there and she's gonna sweat some more, like just kept like referencing it over and over and over.
Yeah, this will be tough.
Yeah.
Nice.
And like we're all standing out there too, like and most film people they're always wearing like jeans and a black t-shirt. And we're just like out there like frying on the tarmac.
I have so many
Jeans and a
stories like
black
that. People
T-shirt.
coming,
What?
yeah, and dude, people will think that they're coming to Louisiana. And they're like, "Oh, I'm from wherever. I understand heat." And like, look, you should not be wearing black jeans, black t-shirt, black everything
Like I don't want to
outside in the
remove. I don't
sun.
want to like as much as I love compositing shots that I'm on set for. I don't want to be removing logos on my t-shirt.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, let's talk about this shot. This one's pretty funny.
This is one of the ones I actually got to be there, by myself because Davey had to be on a soundstage for another shot that they were doing,
Nice.
and
How far
that
do you have
like
to
this.
walk for this one?
Oh, I think it was probably a solid 15 feet. So it was really tough. I had to bring my own chair, so it
Oh
was really
no.
hard. Yeah. I even had a nice little spot underneath the tree, so I didn't really have to like be in the sun. Um, but for anyone that doesn't know, this is actually the entrance into Celtic Studios, and that's the part where they ID you and you get in. And across the street there is the world famous Costco. Um,
It's the
and
Costco loading dock.
yeah, and very nice, very great hot dogs and pizza. Go by and check it out sometime.
That
Um,
chicken bake, man. Go
oh
go try the
man,
chicken bake.
I love the chicken bake. But It was super cool because like obviously I went there not knowing exactly what they were gonna do, and it was the production that we had like behind it with this like Kyle Dutton, the producer on it. He was more than willing to hop on the phone with me and able to talk me through like exactly what they needed, and I could relay that information to them because we had to rebuild that far right area there that was a prop set, and we had to rebuild it in CG on the top, and then obviously replace the entire everything past that van with the border into Mexico. Um, so it was just a very fun like set to be out there. It was very easy, very smooth, but then the overall shot was just very fun to put together. I did not get to work on this one, but it was cool to see it all come together.
Very
Nice.
cool.
Yeah. Shout out to Kyle.
Yeah, hey Kyle. Shout out to Kyle Dutton, producer extraordinaire.
I think probably my favorite thing about the show was just the production behind it too. All the producers and the management that went with it. Very smooth, very easy, and just the smoothest show I've probably ever been a part of.
That's great.
Yeah,
Cool.
another one on, might have possibly contributed to why the VFX went so well is had good show side VFX. Brad helping out, and then also he did some directing too. Seems like directing
Yeah,
always, I mean, VFX always goes really well when the directors
Yeah,
VFX
Brad
comes from
Tannenbaum, shout
VFX.
out. Yeah, Brad was great to work with. He really helped, just steer the vision and make sure clients were on board with our vision and our thoughts and the things that we were hoping to get done here. And yeah, the showrunners were the core Max were really great to work with as well. Who, fun fact, they were also involved in writing the original National Treasure movies too. So
yeah, it was. Yeah, I thought that they were like actually the main writers, if I remember correctly,
yeah,
and they were very friend. They were always on set too. They were involved every single day, so they were very nice.
totally.
But you got to ask the question that everybody's asking: Where was Nick Cage?
Oh, that's a sore spot.
Mm. Yeah,
Did
the
they
whole
try to get him out there?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
yes. I mean, I definitely heard that they wanted him to do a cameo spot, and the whole internet was outraged about it.
I
But
think like the only like
yeah, he
real
would jump
cameo they had
totally.
was the that scene with Justin Bartha. He came in for an episode. He was
Yeah,
like the comedic
Riley.
relief in the original, yeah, the original relief and or the comedic relief in the National Treasure movies. And he gets off the plane and he's on the phone with Benjamin Gates, and like he's like talking to him about it. But like that's really the only like reference to the entire show of Nick Cage there. I think the worst thing was is that he was in Louisiana when they were filming this. He was in New Orleans filming Renfield.
That's right.
Yeah.
I wonder if it had anything to do with like that, like kind of like old school like actor mentality where it's like doing something episodic isn't as big as like doing something film.
I don't
Maybe.
know. He seems like he just likes to do weird stuff. So like maybe
Yeah,
it wasn't weird enough for him.
just too much Dracula makeup
Yeah.
to take off.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, Renfield was
Well,
a great movie. It was a lot of fun.
I liked Renfield a lot too.
We
yeah.
also worked on
Well,
that
we'll
one, so
need.
we'll have to do a show where we talk about Renfield for sure.
Yeah, we'll get Andy on here. Andy would love to talk about this.
Andy Burns, shout out Andy Burns.
Yeah.
Also, this treasure room, that was probably one of the most impressive sets I had ever like stepped on. Like just like this entire like setup here was like really like cool. I walked through there a few times with like Davey, and just the amount of detail that they had in the props was amazing.
Very cool. Yeah, all the weird things VFX has to do, right? I mean, like
Hey, wait, go back.
add
Can you
that
see that
pole here.
door?
What door?
Oh yeah, at the pole. But the door is that the door that's in our office?
Yeah,
It is
I think it
actually,
is.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the pieces that it blows up into, there's a piece of that in the office too.
Yeah, we were using that
Yeah.
as like a coffee table for a minute.
Yeah. One of those blown up pieces is our doorstop.
Nice.
And then this one was really fun. I mean, pretty straightforward CG integration, but it was very because like I loved at the tail end of it. We don't get to see it in here, but she throws this thing with a lot of mustard behind it, and it like she clearly hit something behind the camera because she looked very startled by the end of it. I did not get to be upset for that, but I think maybe somebody twisted their ankle from it.
Mm. Somebody asked in the chat how many shots total on the show. Do y'all remember?
Ooh, how
Ooh.
many shots total on the show? It was a couple
I got
hundred.
informed on how many shots I finaled.
How many did you
I
final,
finaled
Kevin?
82 shots on this project.
82 shots.
Good
Holy
job,
cow.
Kevin.
Yeah,
Or are
we
we
were
supposed
probably.
to
I
talk
think we
about
were
your
probably like in the
username on
five,
there?
five, 600 realm in this show. Maybe a little less
Yeah,
than
I
that.
mean, if I remember,
400. We had
it was like 8 episodes, I believe, or
Well,
10.
Maddie, are you still watching this? Maddie, can you just like go check and tell us?
putting poor Maddie to work on some off time, hanging out. Oh, she's online still. That was a joke,
I
Maddie.
was
Don't do
waiting
that.
for it. Knew she was paying attention. So, Maddie, we were debating before this how you knew that this was happening. Did you see it on Discord or were you lurking our calendars?
Are we just gonna like sit here and wait for her to respond?
I am. I am waiting for her to respond.
All right. In the meantime, let's talk
Yeah.
about these shots. There's a lot of these sort of interior working close-up things happening
Oh
here.
yeah,
Oh yeah. What were we calling these shots?
the locking mechanisms.
Yeah, we were just calling
Um.
them locking mechanism. You're thinking of
Okay.
Clue Mine.
Cool.
Clue Mine is all this glowy stuff. That another shout out our friends at Echo Tango Creative here in Baton Rouge helped us
Yeah.
work out all these little all these cool 3D graphics, and Clue Mine as they call it was her like superpower, quote unquote. But they never wanted it to really feel like a superpower, sort of like internal thinking and thought processing when she's like analyzing clues.
I try to do that when I do puzzles now, and it doesn't go as well. It's not smooth.
You try to imagine them as glowy floating pieces around your
Yeah,
head as you're
like
putting
in
them
my
together.
head, just see all the pieces floating in the air. Especially when I put like a Rubik's cube together.
Yeah. Yeah, all these little macro shots, these were really cool. This is something they did in the original National Treasure movies. The coolest one that I can think of is when they do the Declaration of Independence bit, where the camera flashes through the whole Declaration of Independence and sees the locking mechanism set up, and so they wanted to carry that over into the show a bit. And let's see, let's go to the piano one. The piano one was a ton of fun.
Yeah, I just remember every time I saw that in dailies, it blew me away, and every time it got better and better, and I was like, how can they keep making this better and better?
Yeah, this one was a lot of fun. They let us just sort of have free reign with designing these, which is always cool to work with the filmmakers there. And they say, well, this is what we're thinking, and you guys just have at it. And
Yeah, Logan did all the CG and lighting for it, right?
yeah, that's right. And Logan did a lot of the prep work too. He looked into how these organs work and like what the internals look like. And
Yeah,
shout
I
out to
think he's
Logan
building organs
Sayers.
now
Yeah,
for
he's
as a side gig. Yeah,
if he's not, that is a missed opportunity, right? But yeah, shout out to Logan Sayers. He did a lot of the studying of these things and how they work, and really came up with a really cool setup on the internal workings of this organ.
and Sean Compton, and yeah, he just did a great job at it.
For sure. Very cool. Well, what was we've been talking about all the great things about the show. What was your least favorite thing about the show, Kevin? Did you
Um,
watch it?
I did watch it. I went to a few of the Squeaky Pete premieres for it
Oh
actually.
yeah.
Which, if anyone that has seen it, Squeaky Pete's is a bar that they reference quite a bit in it, and it is an actual bar in downtown Baton Rouge. They get very excited about it. I would say probably my least favorite thing is that it definitely seemed like it was catered towards a much younger audience. Because like the writing, in some parts felt a little like I didn't really understand like why they were doing certain things. Like they kept referencing the treasure. It just felt like there was this MacGuffin that didn't really have a lot of depth to it. They were like, we got to find the treasure. We got to make sure the treasure's there. The treasure is so important, and it's like, okay, but why is it important? Why do we need this? Um, I think like that's probably like where I kind of like lost a little bit of like interest in
Treasure,
it.
Kevin. When do you have to ask yourself when you
I
need
know it's
treasure?
like it's just a big like shiny ruby that they have, like you see in like Aladdin, where it's just like this big gem. Um, and yeah, I just like I think that's kind of like what like lost it for me was just I'm like okay, but why are these things important? Like why are we doing
Sure.
like I just want a little bit
Yeah.
more backstory to that.
Well, and sometimes that they have that stuff in like they have every reason for it. It just doesn't make it on the screen.
Yeah,
Like, how do you tell this in a certain amount of episodes? There's always limitations on that sort of thing.
yeah, and big references to her family and making like her father this like big time treasure hunter, um, which
Find all that
like
out in season two.
yeah, rip. Unfortunately, we won't get to find out what the treasure is or why it's so important.
Womp
But I
womp.
think overall, my favorite thing was just the chemistry between all the characters. Like, they're all really talented. They all like seem to really enjoy working with each other and like being a part of this, and that I think that really shows in every episode.
Nice. Tell me about what's going on here.
Oh, actually, I think this was one of the first shots we finaled, and I think it was super cool because we turned it in, and the only feedback we got from the client was, "What'd you do?" Um, which, like, for anyone that doesn't know, as a visual effects artist, that's the best compliment you can ever get.
For sure.
Um, like, and those invisible effects are always like what really like when like you show somebody something like, "Oh, I can't believe I made this," and they're like, "What is it?" And it's that's exactly that. So this is just I believe this was Graceland, right?
Right. Yep.
We replaced the entire wall to look more like Elvis's house, and again, just the map painting blended in so well, and the roto like was amazing. And this was just like it really is one of those shots that you look at and you have to really analyze and see like what was done to it. Like you wouldn't know that they just put all these like rocks on the wall.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tell me about this shot. You worked on this shot too, yeah?
Yeah, and I got to be on set for this one. This was another one of those like sets that was like really kind of like mind blowing. It's Lisa and John Riley are in here trying to figure out how I forget exactly what they're doing, but they're trying to break out of this room, and they accidentally set off the sensors or the security that locks them in there, and they start like sucking all the oxygen out of the room. So it's like this race against time to try and figure out how to open the door. And the papers all flying around are because the AC is like starting to go haywire in there. And many of the papers are practical, like they actually did have them blowing around on set. And later on, Davey and I went back and like we filmed a bunch of additional papers on top of a green screen with a DSLR 35 millimeter, and I was able to
Nice.
go in and key it and like add some depth to the papers and make it really feel like truly chaotic in there. All these maps and important documents that are flying around.
That's awesome. Well, let's get to the
Yeah.
Was
I have
Spectrum on this
notes.
one too?
Yeah, Spectrum was on
Oh,
this. Let's get to the I have
yeah.
notes
Well,
portion of this this
Yeah,
stream.
well, hold on a second. I'm wondering if they
Background
recycled
part.
the stuff from crawdads to do the paper.
Same
If they
fans.
had, yeah. Uh,
All right, Kevin. We're gonna
yeah.
pause it on this frame. Oh no, we
I know. I
paused
can
it.
already see it. It's not entirely my fault. It's
What is this edge? Let's talk about this edge in the scene,
um,
Kevin.
you know, it's a very dark area that's being put over a very bright area, and it was outsourced roto. Not entirely my fault.
CBB, CBB. Nice. Well, cool. What go ahead and start wrapping it up. But like, were there any favorite moments from the project, or like anything you were particularly
I
proud
think
of on this one?
I think overall, like just my favorite thing was just the entire project. Like it was probably one of the best teams that I had ever been a part of. From top to bottom, it like the management was incredible. Matty Corman did an incredible job keeping the shots in line and exactly like when they needed to be done. Kyle Dutton is an amazing producer, was able to be communicative and we knew exactly what he needed with it. The supervisors, Kolby, always with amazing feedback and able to like drive an incredible look home. And I like for me as like who have worked on at this point almost 100 projects, it really it was just really like cool to like be a part of something that like didn't have a ton of overtime. It was 8 hours every day. I think maybe like 1 or 2 days of overtime, just to probably, especially in the beginning, to get the clients looking at things. And then after that, like it was just smooth sailing. It was just the like one of the fun, like the most fun projects I've been part of. The effects are always like really cool, and at the end of it, it didn't go into a crazy overtime crunch. It just kind of ended, and it was like just an amazing like feeling to kind of do that. And that's a very rare thing to find. I'm sure it's like all film professionals, like we have been in those crazy crunches and just felt the
Oh yeah.
weight of like everything.
Well,
And
that's
I
awesome.
don't think that could have been done without the team that we had on it.
Very cool. Would you recommend people watch the show?
Yeah, I mean, you got to come and see the visual effects, and support Louisiana film jobs.
There you go. You heard it here, folks.
Speak,
Kevin Conlon.
yeah.
Watch National Treasure.
2 thumbs up.
Nice.
Speaking of that, there is a Louisiana film industry event
Oh yeah.
tonight. I'm gonna pull up the details on that. Oh, and somebody said in the chat 415 shots total. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Well, it came from Maddie. I'm sure it's accurate. She looked into it. Thanks, Maddie. We
Yes,
appreciate you
thank you, Maddie. Where
for
is the
doing that.
information on that? Yeah, film industry mixer tonight, Thursday, November 30th, 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at Bargeboard Mill Shop on Powder Street,
There
Algiers
you go.
Point.
If you're in Louisiana, in the film industry, or would like to be, meet some people.
Yeah. All
It'd be a
all
good
four
networking
real
event.
people in this chat are likely in Louisiana since we only shared this with the
For
Louisiana film
sure.
industry group.
But we had another question here. Let's see. How is it filming in the swamp? Oof. It's always a good time.
Sticky, very
It's
sticky.
hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Louisiana summers to shoot in are always
Stay
intense.
hydrated. Put on your SPF 100. In case the sun fails to go down, you'll be protected.
Yeah. Story for another time, but we shot crawdads also in the middle of the summer in the south in literal swamps. At least Baton Rouge isn't as swampy. There were some swamp locations on here, uh, but yeah, man, it's always hot.
Oh yeah, there was a couple scenes we had to do where it was, they were actually in the swamp, like they were trying to find like the temple or something.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah, when all the fog was coming in on the water.
indeed,
Yeah, the
indeed.
real swamps are great, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the fake swamps are a lot better.
Mm.
Like that swamp y'all had on Swamp Thing, Colby, that was
Yeah,
amazing.
probably
And
another conversation for another time as well. But yes, the
yeah,
swamp thing, swamp, man, it's a completely indoor swamp on a soundstage is insane. We'll have to do a whole bit on that one and show pictures and stuff because it was awesome.
coming up with a bunch of ideas on this. We need to take notes on what we should talk about. But
Yeah,
speaking of that, anybody who's actually watching, please give us feedback, whether like directly in the chat on the Discord group, message us directly. Feedback is welcome, and we need to figure out if we're going to do this again or not. We also need to figure out what we're going to do with this content. We might put it on social, we might put it on YouTube, Facebook, we might keep doing Twitch, might do all of it. Figure it
totally.
out.
But thanks for joining, everyone. Kevin, thank you for hanging out and chatting with us
Thank
and
you for
walking us
having
through
me.
some stuff.
It was a lot of fun.
Um, and everybody keep an eye out. We might do this again.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, everybody.
I know what our sign off is. Adios. Goodbye. Farewell.
Thank you for reading your notes.
Au revoir. Yeah.
I guess.
Check the ref.